Welcome back to EPT Prague. The final 9 are assembled around our feature table, and they will play down to 8. One more player to lose and we're done for the day, and we'll come back tomorrow with our final table. So these are the 9 players we'll be watching. It's David Boyasian, the Dutchman who finished second in this tournament last year, who has the chip lead right now, and they're all pretty deep. The shortest stack is Mark Herm with 43 big blinds. It's James Hartigan, Matt Broughton, and Liv Barry from Team PokerStars Pro.
Living the dream. The Herminator's back. I'm glad he made it this far. This is, considering we've only watched this one day, it feels like we've seen everybody on different tables. So this is our pick of the best that made it through. And luckily we're in a position where we kind of know quite a bit about pretty much all these guys. And with a view to a pretty exciting final table when the last 8 are put together.
By the way, if you want to get in touch, if you have a question for Liv, anything else you want to say, you can tweet using the hashtag EPTLive or email nuts@pokerstars.tv. And email is what Gary Q in Exmouth did, picking up on something that you said, Matt, about being a bit old school and calling a Snickers a marathon.
Sorry about
This
that.
is quite shocking. Marathon changed to Snickers in 1990. That was 22 years ago. But, yes, you can still buy Topic bars.
Well, there you are. I thought you could. I'm not surprised to hear that.
Gary says, great coverage, guys. Keep up the good work.
Well, that's just being sarcastic.
Not a fan of Topic bars.
No?
No.
There's not much to them, is there? They're a bit like...
Yeah,
what?
I'm a Mars bar person.
Really? See, I can't do the Mars, but there's just too much caramel. Just too much caramel in there with
No
not
such
enough.
thing.
Or, for those of you interested in which snacks EPT champions enjoy, Liv is a Mars person, and we know that Jake Cody likes Lion bars because he tweeted during EPT Barcelona that he'd just eaten a Lion bar and was now playing like a lion.
Wow. That's tremendous.
I'm really hoping that there was some irony inherent in that tweet.
No, probably not. Lion bar's good, actually, every now and then. I forgot about Lion bars. I go for that. Double deckers, I've never really understood the fuss about. It's just a mess of a bar. Anyway, that's chocolate. Oh no, sorry, that's poker. So I forgot what we were doing for a minute.
Well, we're coming back with the blind still at 20 and 40,000 with a 5,000 ante. Blue chips are 5,000, yellows are 25,000. So the 2 big stacks are David Boyasian and Sotirios Koutopoulos. But no one is that shallow right now. There is a lot of play in this, and potentially it could be some time before the final table bubble bursts.
Okay, the main event started with 864 players here in Prague. It's a record-breaking field, never been as big as this in Prague. We are now down to 9 players. We're going to continue play until we have 8 remaining players, and those 8 will be our official final 8 players. I'll introduce you to our final 9 main event players. Seed 1. He came second in the main event here in Prague last year. So this is a familiar place and a familiar spot to be in for David Boyasian from the Netherlands. David is the current chief leader as well, with 4,290,000 in chips. Seed 2 from Russia, with 2,655,000 in chips. Please welcome Sergei Kuzminsky. Seed 3 from Poland, with 2,050,000 in chips. Welcome Mariusz Klozinski. Seed 4 from Sweden, with 2,750,000 in chips. Give a hand to Ramzi Jelassi. Seed 5 with 2,165,000 in chips. From the UK, please welcome Ben Warrington. Seed 6 from Greece with 3,765,000 in chips. He is currently second in chips. Please welcome Sotirios Koutupas. Seed 7 from the USA with 1,705,000 in chips. Please welcome Mark Herb. Seed 8, Belarus with 3,560,000 in chips. Give a hand to Ale Plauski. Seed 9 from Spain with 2,980,000 in chips. Please welcome Diego Gomez.
Well, I think it's fair to say that the noisiest fans are the Spanish and the British.
Never. I can't possibly accept that.
So those are the 9 players remaining. One of them will not progress to the final table. Worth pointing out, by the way, they will keep these seat assignments, minus whoever gets busted.
See, you're so negative. What you should have said is that 8 of these get to go through to the final table. But no, for you, it's 1 of these won't.
Building the drama, building the tension.
Wow,
Max has got a question for you, Liv. What advantages do women have over men in poker?
tremendous.
What advantages do women have over men? It's difficult because I've never been a man, so I can't really compare.
Well, that's not what the internet says.
Well,
Derek.
speculation aside.
Derek
Frank,
Burry,
thank you,
should
I'm
I
Frank.
say.
What advantages do women have over men? I mean, I could go with the cliched answers. We're more intuitive.
Yeah.
Which again, like it's impossible to say because like I don't know. It's like me asking you, what advantages do men have over women?
Beards.
Well, that's true.
Don't have to pluck my eyebrows.
Well, you don't have to as women either.
Yeah, but
Just
you do, though,
convention,
don't you?
just society tells us
Oh,
to.
okay. Yeah, eye makeup. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have to waste time putting on eye makeup, do I?
This is true.
So more time to think about poker.
I don't know. A serious answer. I guess we. We. I think women generally have. Again, it's difficult to say, but we're perhaps a little less ego-driven when it comes to the table. We won't be as some players can. If they get shown a bluff or whatever, will actually take it really to heart and be like, oh, this person's targeting me and so on, and therefore they might play slightly more egoically than anyone else, or than their female counterparts. So that can be an advantage. That said, I know that I can definitely let people get under my skin sometimes, as can other women, as can all humans, really. So it's difficult to say. It just depends on the person.
Nail varnish, that's another thing. I don't paint my nails.
Well done, Matt.
I don't know if you paint your nails.
No.
No, you don't. I mean, you're not really the right person to ask because you don't really make an effort. Unless there's like a photo shoot or a TV advert or something. But,
And there's someone there who's professional
to
at
do
making
it for
effort.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
while you
basically-
sleep, just to pick your hand up while you sleep and just paint your nails.
And just paint my face and whatever.
Paint my face.
Pretty true.
Paint my face.
I brushed my hair today. You should be proud.
Do you know what? I appreciate the effort. Do you just go to sleep on a sofa with just a post-it note on your chest saying "paint my face"?
Yes.
And then because I've got a photo shoot, and then you just wake up going, "Wow, stunning."
Yeah, little did you know it's Kevin that does all my makeup for me. Yeah.
I've always thought he's got such a steady hand.
Oh, he does. He's an artist.
I thought he looks
Absolute
like
artiste. He's got such flair.
Well, they are. I've no idea who you were, but I hope that hasn't answered your question in any way whatsoever. I mean, the thing is, that question starts off by assuming that there are advantages.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I'm sure there are some. No, there are. I mean, people. There's the whole classic thing. Women have an image of being tighter. Women don't bluff. Blah blah blah. So if you're aware of your image, then.
But does anyone buy that anymore? Wasn't that?
No,
That was kind
not
of
in the slightest.
It was traditional to ask people that 10 years ago when we'd never seen a woman before with cards in front of her. But I don't really know if that works anymore. That whole.
No, I mean my bluffs never work anymore. So.
By the way, the first hand of 9-handed play was raise and take it for chip leader David Boycian. This is hand number 2. And it's been folded around to Ramsey Jalassi in the small blind.
Yeah, I guess the dynamics are on their head, aren't they? Just as we kind of really felt comfortable with how that table worked, it's now completely got to be revised.
And there's a bit of a money jump here. Ninth place pays 53,000, 8th place pays 75,000, but it's not just that, it's also about coming back for the final table tomorrow.
Yeah. If you had to dress, Liv, identically to one of these players, and I'm not saying you'd want to, but imagine that you had to, otherwise Kevin wouldn't paint your face anymore. Which one of these would you like to dress as? Yeah, take a moment. You've got a hoodie there. This guy has got a checked shirt and a scarf.
That matches.
wrong.
They are two different items of clothing. We established that earlier on.
That's Mark Herm.
Yes, that is. That's the Herminator.
I do like his shirt very much. Yeah, he's. I mean, if I had to, I'd probably wear his shirt.
Yeah.
What do we think about the stripy affair that Mr. Gilassi has
I don't think it would work on me that well,
No.
but I do like it.
Yeah. Raising under the gun with 9-5 off and getting maximum respect.
Here's a more serious question for you, Liv. If you had to have the hair of any of these players, whose hair would you like to have? Or not like to have? Whose would you accept as the best of a bad bunch? And you're not allowed to just go bald.
On
Yeah,
myself?
on you. You've got to wake up tomorrow and have somebody's hair from this table for 24 hours. Can't wear a hat, can't wear a wig.
I wouldn't mind that, but it's 25-7 and we're already scraping the barrel for
No, we're
content.
not. This is quality. How dare you call this? I'm just making the best of Liv, yeah?
I'm going to go with... I think I might go with Ramsey's hair. I
Really?
think it look quite good on me.
Yeah. It's nice and thick,
Match my,
isn't it? Nice and
match my
dark.
eyebrows.
Have you ever had short hair, Liv?
I had it in a bob when
drew
I was
'em in.
about 15, 14. That was the last time I had short hair.
Wow. Good. Well, there you are. That's the hair.
I did go through a phase of wanting to shave like the sides off, so I had a mohawk.
Wow.
I did have bright red hair at one point when I was about 20, and a nose ring
Wow.
when I was in my goth stage.
Bright red works. I like bright red hair.
It looks incredible, and it was down to my waist as well, very long.
Ka-ching.
Raise and take it for Ramsey. An email from Daniel to nuts@pokerstars.tv. Says, nice coverage, guys, and nice to see an Englishman on the final table. Would like to make clear this is not the official final table.
It
Liv.
just looks a lot like it.
Liv,
Yes.
apparently you are from Kent, so am I. If you ever want a home game, send me an email. You can come too, and feel free to bring Vanessa, Daniel, Phil, anyone. The more the merrier.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the kind offer. I will
gonna happen.
bear that in mind.
Definitely.
Yeah, I often, when I have Daniel and Phil and Vanessa
In
or
Kent.
around at my parents' farm
Yeah.
in Kent, I will make sure that we...
Quite often on the lookout for a local game, aren't you?
yes.
Not always apparent, but good to know.
Kent's lovely, though.
There's,
It's nice to...
there's definitely a casino in Thanet, but that's probably not your part of Kent, is it?
No, I don't. I've not really spent much time down in Thanet. I mean, I don't really live near things, unfortunately. I live near some trees and some sheep.
Those are things, really, if I'm going to pick you up on.
All right, but not.
Sorry, I'm just here to supply the sort of the tedious part. Like there's James, and then me. And
James is just trying to drag this whole,
He's trying to drag
keep the
this
ship together.
He's
keep
trying
it
to drag this towards poker.
just semi on top of the water, and we're just.
Well, the thing is, I'm just aware that you do lots of stuff like this now, and there was probably a time when it was a thrill, but now probably just like, oh. Well, so I just thought, you know
Never.
what? Let's just like change things up a bit, yeah.
No, I like it. I do like the off the wall questions.
Good.
Throw me some curveballs.
Okay, well, this one from Rob. He says, Liv, how does it feel to be patronised on a live poker webcast just because you are a woman?
Bingo.
That's an excellent question. How does it feel?
You must be used to fielding questions like that.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's sometimes I sort of joke with some of the other female players. When we get asked, oh, what's it like being a woman in poker? And of course, as soon as most interviews, it's like the first thing that they ask you, and I've taken to like slapping my forehead really hard.
Digging forks into my arm.
We were trying to come up with just some absolutely ridiculous answers. And it was actually Vanessa Seltz that came up with the answer of, I don't know, I've never been a man in poker, so I have no comparison. I like that answer. It's a good one.
The thing is, no one ever says to Negreanu, what's it like to be a man? What are
Well,
the
exactly.
advantages of being a man? And you go, I just play poker.
By the way, Ramsey Gilassi is just... I mean, I know they're small parts, but he's picking up the blinds and antes left, right and centre. No one's giving him action.
Steamroller.
Yeah, well, I was surprised. It was no surprise to see it when we were short-handed, but to come to this nine-handed and still be trying to same ploy, it's clearly, the thing is, it's good because the guys he's been with for the last hour and a half are on autopilot folding to him. The new guys are just sort of like falling into that pattern. So it may as well just keep this going for as long as possible, because the tendency here is to be very careful. And you want to come back tomorrow.
And he does have two of the more experienced players on his left, Ben Warrington and Mark Herm.
Yeah.
Mark Herm, of course, is a very well-known player online, diphthong.
Yeah.
Very, very aggressive.
And
talented.
Happy birthday, by the way, to the guy who is on Ramsey Jelassi's right, Mariusz Klozinski, the Polish player celebrating his 40th birthday today.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, sir. What a nice birthday present.
It won't be if he goes broke next.
Oh, stop it.
He's always got to bring some sort of downer, hasn't he? He's always got to drop something nasty on it. So as a woman in poker... No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, nice try, Adela, on Twitter, but I do read these questions before I read them out on air.
I
read it, but I did see
Can I
it.
read it out on air?
Liv, we need to keep this on brand and on message.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, I like that question.
Desperate to ask that question. Well, if anybody would like to see the question, we can't read it out, but if you go to hashtag EPT Live, you can see the questions being pitched. Meanwhile, there's actually some poker happening.
Yeah, we've got a 3-bet here. It's Sergei Kuzminski who's open with a raise, and it's Klozinski who is 3-bet to 160,000. The action appears to have been folded around to Diego Gomez in the small blind. He's the Spanish player with the interesting attire and glasses.
Yeah, we can't appreciate him in his full glory, but...
He has 4-bet.
Boom.
At this stage of the tournament, Liv, considering this is the final table bubble, how much should we respect a cold 4-bet?
I mean, classically speaking, you would respect it a lot. It's out of the small blind. There's a UTG raise. Both the raises in front are in early position, so you've got to give him a lot of credit. That said, it can become a leveling war because, of course, it represents so much strength. People can mistake it for a play.
Well, Boyacine has given up the big blind, so we're back on the original raiser.
The thing is, Gomez is so deep, it's not like he is risking a huge amount of his stack, really.
Kuzminski started the hand with 2.6 million.
Have we seen much of Gomez? Have you guys been seeing
He was on our
played?
feature table for half a level.
Yeah.
And apart from the fact that he had this kind of wall of chips in front of him, which made it very difficult for him to look at his whole cards, the only other thing we really took from him was the bow tie and the glasses.
Yeah.
And he had a tendency to defend his big blind, clearly quite light, because he would then check fold on practically every single flop.
Kuzminski has got out of it, but Klozinski is now head in hands.
He's only got one decision, really.
Yeah.
Shovel fold.
Yeah. That is a problem, is it?
Because, I mean, what are you doing? You're sat there with pocket tens, you know?
Yeah.
You hate your life. I expect if you've got tens, he's just going to have to fold. Unless, of course, that he's got a lot of information on Gomez and seen that he's capable of making these type of plays, but you're sat there with tens and jacks and hating your life, really.
I mean, it'd be lovely if it is a play by Gomez, because it's hugely strong, isn't it? But you just can't take the risk, can you? You can't get involved in this going, well, probably just bluffing.
You're going to have a very high degree of certainty that he's bluffing.
He does look in pain. I don't think this is Hollywood. And happy birthday to me. As he digs his nails into his brain. Well, it's really hard, and also the bubble. The longer you stop and think about this, going, oh, final table. If I just fold and wait. And
He's never ever shoving. After he's sort of been pulling this pained expression, he's aware of how he looks, and he's going to talk himself into folding, I expect.
Can you imagine he now shoves and shows up with aces?
that would be awesome, wouldn't it?
That would be sick.
Literally buy him a cake, put a candle in it.
Ramsey's had enough.
Okay, now I'm out of here. I'm off for a marathon.
The red-haired lady was checking him out.
Unbelievable. Just women in poker.
There's nothing wrong with looking.
They're just after one thing. Oh, this is just silly now. James, would you step out and have a word?
Unfortunately, the commentators aren't allowed to call the clock. This is a rule I've been trying to bring in since season 4.
The guy's got a decision for his tournament life.
Well, more importantly, can we just have a big button? And if all the commentators press the button, then he just has to fold.
Yeah, on top of Negreanu's suggestion for a shot clock, you could have, you know, if you don't make your decision, you also get an electric shock as well. Shock therapy. Well,
And just a warning tingle in the ankle, just to let you know that.
Oh, he shoved.
There you are, I told you. He has just gone, do you know what, my 10s, if they're good, they're good.
So after all that tanking, Klasinski decides to go with his hand, and the decision is now back on Gomez, who has him covered.
Sweet.
By around 900,000. So we're talking about 2/3 of Gomez's stack here. Gomez wanted a count.
It's the classic shove, stand up, immediately move.
I'm surprised Gomez didn't have more of a
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had this conversation earlier on. It's funny how many people don't. They're just sort of making up as they go along. Thinking, oh. Now he's going to have to put his hand in his head.
I mean, sometimes you'll have a plan and then, you know, you'll get an extra live tell or something, you know, if your opponent, and that makes you sort of second guess it. But he doesn't even seem to really be looking at his opponent, so I'm just going to go with didn't necessarily have a plan.
Sounds good to me.
And Kaminsky, or is it? Yeah, he's raising his eyebrows, going, maybe you didn't have anything, sir.
Can you imagine if Kuzminski actually ended up folding the best hand out of the throw? Not beyond the realms of possibility.
I think it's fairly unlikely.
What were you saying about electric shocks? It's a fold.
Wow.
Wowee, there you are then.
Glad to see
nice.
those hands.
No one is going to show any cards.
No. And I guess it's round and round and round where you get the game off saying, but I look so strong here that he must be huge.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to lose Liv Boeree. Obviously, we're not going to misplace her. She has to go and do other things.
But thank you very much for having me, everybody.
Not at all.
Thank you for your questions.
Safe travels home tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Happy trails.
See you guys soon.
We will see you at the PCA. Thank you very much, Liv.
Thank you, and good luck to everyone on the final table.
Oh, what a beautiful sentiment. I don't believe her for a minute. She looks so insincere.
Hello to John Hayes on Twitter. He says, I'm sweating dip. The dip being Dipthrong, Mark Herm, and listening to Baggy Trousers. Is that the Madness track, Baggy Trousers?
Yes. Well, unless he actually just has some quite loose pants and is listening to them. Doesn't seem to be likely.
So we play on. Klasinski up to 2.5 million. Gomez now around the same stack size.
I thought Liv coped very well with some quite tricky questions there.
There's actually a question that's come in late on the emails from Rob.
I'll take it.
Well, actually, I was about to say that I can answer it for you, Rob.
Is it to do with how do I feel about lipstick in poker?
No, it's basically Liv recently watched poker on TV when Officer McPhee and Vanessa Selps had a little tiff. Has the dust settled and did you have to step in and sort it out? The dust is more than settled, everything's hunky-dory and they're all friends again. And they all lived happily ever after.
Yeah, Vanessa wasn't happy with that, was she? Poor old Liv stuck in the middle. Best mate and boyfriend. Where'd you go? Well, that was pretty serious stuff, that last hand there. I wonder what that would do for Diego Gomez's image. because, well, the points we were making, the position he was playing and the way he played, it made him look hugely strong. But then, of course, he ends up folding that hand that he has played. So you think, well, either he's been unravelled and understood, or he just ran into absolute monstrous hand himself. Meanwhile, folded all the way around to the button.
And the chip leader will raise. It's a fold from the small blind and from the big blind. I mean, this is standard stuff, Matt, when we get to this nine-handed play. Everyone goes super tight. Everyone's super cautious. You know, the big sums are at the final table, and you can't win at the final table unless you get to the final table.
That is absolutely true. Every single word of that sentence was correct in every single way. And also the prestige. And, you know, it's like, you know, yeah. Even if you're not money motivated, which is a ridiculous thing to say, but, you know, it's about just that claim to fame and living the dream and thinking, well, come back tomorrow and I could end up, you know, in 24 hours' time, lifting up what I understand is quite an angular piece of trophy.
It's beautifully angular, by the way.
Nice.
Hello to Pedro. Says, had to stop my grind to watch you guys. Send me some run good vibes, please. Pedro, play and watch. That's the idea. Yeah. Watch the pokers, play the pokers.
Feel the pokers running through your veins.
I get the impression that Pedro stopped playing because it's not been going well today. He says, I need these run good vibes. Well, good luck to you, sir. Why not give the EPT Live free roll a go?
Nice.
The password you'll need to get into that game is PCA10. There's actually been a few requests on Twitter for that password. The game doesn't start for another 2 hours and 22 minutes. So that's 9:15 Central European time. But PCA10, that's lowercase PCA10, will get you into that free roll.
$20,000, $40,000, $5,000 ante is where we're about on the old blinds.
And so far it's generally been raise and take it or raise 3-bet and take it. The only hand of note really was that 3-bet from Klaczynski followed by the 4-bet from Gomez, the long tank and then shove from Klaczynski and the then tank fold from Gomez.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was absolutely surprised when the shove came. Of the options, I hadn't really thought. I thought this is just probably foldy time. He clearly had a strong hand, etc., etc., etc. But he just, something clinked in the old brain. He went, do you know what? I'm just going to get behind this 100% and see where we are.
I think what surprised me more than that, Matt, was the fact that Gomez then had to think for more than 3 seconds. Because surely when he 4-bets, knowing the stacks of the other two players, he knows one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to fold to his 4-bet or they're going to shove. And he must know what his response is going to be.
Yeah. Well, that's the point they've made, is in all that time, maybe he gets some other little read on the situation.
Fair enough.
And that affects that he thought he knew what he was going to do. If you shove, I do this. If you fold, I win. You know, etc., etc. But
sure.
Maybe in that period of time he's thinking, eesh, for this guy to take this long and shove, maybe that takes me to a different place in my decision on his hand.
So just to recap the stacks at this 9-handed table. David Boyasian is the tournament chip leader with 4.4 million. Second in chips is Ali Plowski, the player from Belarus, who made the final table of the grand final a couple of seasons ago. He's playing around 3.65 million. Actually, so is the Greek player, Sotirios Kotopoulos. Only 5,000 chips separates them at the moment. And Mark Herm is the shortest stack, but by no means is a short stack, with 42 big blinds.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen a few short stacks, but that, as you say, it's the difference between being a shortest stack at the table versus being a short stack. 42 blinds. I don't think he's likely to suddenly do anything rash or panicky.
But we've been here so many times before. There comes a point where if the tournament's going quickly and players are falling left, right and centre, that there will be some consolidation in the stacks. And eventually they will start playing slower because they're suddenly all deep again. And that's the stage we're at right now.
Yep.
A very important part of the tournament, the final table bubble. Yes, we're down to 1 table, but it's not the official EPT final table until we are down to 8.
A great tweet from Debbie. Suggestion on how to answer, how does it feel to be a woman in poker? Suggests the answer is, well, my cards do wink at me when I look at them. Which is kind of good. We like. It does surprise me. Actually, it kind of surprises me, and it doesn't, that's still a legitimate question that any journalist, any poker journalist left on the planet can still find the gall to say to a woman, and what's it like to be a woman in poker? You know, really? It's 2012. Are you sure you still want to ask me that question? There's quite a few of us now. Cats in poker. I think that'll be the next big thing. I think some cat will win a big tournament. And that'll take off. And then the journalist will go, oh, thank God, something new to talk about.
A raise from Boyasian here. Standard min raise. Action forward to Mark Herm on the button. He will pass.
No, that's Ben.
Oh, sorry. Absolutely right. They both have stoic expressions and sunglasses.
They do.
It's my bad.
They do. Just go by the scarves and shirts.
That's true.
That's all I do. You got Stripey sitting next to Blue, sitting next to Black. Don't remember their names. I can follow the shirts. Yeah, well, I'm sure we're going to see. We could see this for many, many hours because they are deep as, and it's. And at this point, if you're sitting in the small blind or the big blind, if somebody makes a min raise, you just go, well, do you know what? Good luck to you. But there's absolutely no motivation whatsoever to get involved in this game unless you really think you've got some positive reason to do so.
Folded around to Mariusz Klosinski.
Yeah, it looked like he was interested in that for a second there, but no.
Nope. Ben Warrington also passes. Soterios Kotopoulos on the button. That is a raise. And that is a fold.
And I would imagine
That's
that's
a
also
fold too,
fold,
yeah.
Everyone quite happy to just take it in turns to pick these up, let them go, pick them up.
So a reminder that 9th place will pay €53,000. Once you get to the final table, you're guaranteed 75,000. Pretty big jumps as you work up the ladder, with the winner guaranteed 835,000 plus the title and trophy.
More folding around the table. Oh, hello. Mariusz.
What's the other thing to say, Matt, about the kind of game flow right now is, you know, for the last, well, for most of today, they've been playing 6-handed or 5-handed, and suddenly you go to 9-handed.
Yeah.
So you're back to where the tournament started.
Yeah. For the first time in days.
Exactly. And so suddenly you're kind of like having to adjust to that as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It takes a huge amount of adjustment. And also to be full, you know, on a full table and everyone is absolutely so deep that there's no obvious targets. There's no one that you can really pick on and you go, right, we're all going to take it in turns to try and take a chunk out of ... Or we've all spotted the slightly weak player is like, this is the best of the best and they've got all the chips in the world.
Yeah. Akim has just emailed saying, what do you think about Piers Hines and his play? Was it just luck that he became world champion because you didn't hit anything else and he didn't make it in the money this year? That means nothing. It's tournament poker. Variance is huge. No, it's not just luck that he became world champion. He obviously had to play well at some stage, and certainly I think he played very well heads up against Martin Stashko. But the nature of tournaments is you can have one big win and then not cash for years after that.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you look back at even the people that we now see as consistent tournament, you know, cashers, they all have dry spells. They have an amazing year, and then they just can't get anywhere. I think that is the nature of being a tournament player. You just have to accept you play 30 and don't get anywhere, and the 31st one you win the World Series, or you know.
Yes,
that's why the tournament scene is so tough. Because you can play a blinder and just not get anywhere. Or even, you know, you find you spend 5 days playing, you cash and you get, you know, 6 times your buy-in. It's It's very hard to get up into those tables. But I think that's why it attracts a certain sort of player. But yeah, certainly you can say anybody that wins the World Series runs good. But also there's a lot of situations where they've got to know what they're doing and they've got to make good decisions, because even if you get the best cards in the world, you've still got to know how to extract value and you've still got to know what you're doing. You can't just sit back and the chips come towards you. Pretty wet ball there.
Yeah, let's just recap the action. It was Katupas who opened with a raise, called by Plowski on the button and then called by Boyasian in the big blind.
All registered players for the next format game, please begin to take your seats.
Looks like everyone has checked the flop. Thought I saw Plowski check. Oh, he checked, not realising that Katupas hadn't acted yet. He does like to take his time over his decisions, and he decided to continue.
Yep, it was a pre-flop raiser, even though it was only the min raise. Still in a position to keep the momentum going. Gets rid of Plowski.
What will Boyasian do? He will also fold. Huh. Rob on Twitter says, I understand the whole thing about variance, so please can you explain Jason Mercier?
One day variance will come around. Variance, Jason Mercier is the man that variance forgot.
If he ever writes an autobiography, he should definitely use that as the title.
That's it. Gonna copyright that immediately. But one day variance go, who's that guy? And that's Jason Mercier. I've never even noticed him. Right, and variance will roll up its sleeves and it will beat the living hell out of Jason Mercier.
Should point out that now all the players are on one table. The little pie chart that we were asked about earlier on is very relevant because it will demonstrate the percentage of the chips in play.
There you are.
Wait for it, and then we'll be able to demonstrate what we're talking about.
No, any minute now, somebody's going to play their hand.
It's going to be Ala Plowski.
Yep.
And Plowski, we know, has a stack of 3.49 million. And as he raises there, we can see from the little white Trivial Pursuit wedge what percentage of the chips in play that is.
I think of it more as Pac-Man looking at the sun. And he's smiling. Look at his teeth. Or something. Well, it is the standard min raise.
I don't think this is going to get through. This looks like a 3-bet is coming from Sergei Kuzminsky, the Russian qualifier.
Yep.
$170,000 total. A bit surprised, to be honest with you, Matt, that he didn't raise more. Normally, if you're raising out of position, you tend to make the 3-bet bigger.
Yeah, I guess the thing is because everyone has just been taking it in turns to go, no, I fancy this hand, min raise, can I win the blinds and antes, please? Is that maybe the decision here is that to find out whether this is just one of those instances, the re-raise just doesn't have to be big to find out where somebody goes, meh, fair enough, you got me. So
as it stands, Plowski being offered a great price plus the advantage of position, he can easily afford to make this call.
Yeah, Kuzminsky has voluntarily put himself in a bit of a spot, but doesn't mean it has to be massively expensive. Started the hand with 2.4 million and only got 200 odd thousand out there. Mark Herm looking pretty relaxed in the background, chatting with some friends, waiting for this hand to go through. I think that's the thing. I mean, actually, that's indicative of this stage. Is everyone's pretty relaxed. I don't think there's any pressure on anyone. Everyone's got enough chips to wait this out if it takes a while.
So it appears that Kuzminski has actually given up the betting lead. He has checked to Plowski, and Plowski has bet 155,000. And Kuzminski will call. So interesting, he 3-bets pre and then check calls the flop. Can't imagine that's changed much.
No. And you think, well, if Kuzminski's going to check here, is the check call meant to get another, you know, to try and get a check through Plowski as well? Or to slow Plowski down if he was thinking of just keeping on firing?
Kuzminski checks again. Does Plowski fire again?
I think he kind of has to. If he's firing at that flop, no reason in the world to stop firing now. If you've got the goods, you've got the goods, and if you're selling the bluff, well then you certainly can't stop now, because you may as well just throw your cards away. So he has to chuck in a couple of thousand here. A couple of 100,000 perhaps is what I mean. But yeah, there's absolutely no way you can make that play from the flop and then change your line completely on the turn. 240,000. Sounds about right to me. Yeah, I just don't see how Kuzminski is being too passive. I don't see how he can carry on that. He either needs to fold or raise back there. You just can't keep calling through, because, well, what are you representing?
Pete the bookie has a theory on Twitter that Jason Mercier must have sold his soul. And Sammy the Freezing Finn says, damn, I'm yawning looking at this stream, but can't blame the players. Everybody wants to go to the final table. The good thing is occasionally we do get a hand like that, where there's an interesting dynamic, or that hand with the 4-bet, which Gomez didn't know what to do to the shove against.
Yeah.
You know, it's
yeah.
They may be few and far between. We're still seeing some interesting action here.
Yeah. Well, I think that's sort of very much to do with the players we've got.
Hold it around to Plowski. Standard min raise.
Yeah, on the back of his victory last hand, feeling good about that. Keep the ball rolling.
Don't think he's going to get this one through uncontested. David Boycian on the button with the decision.
Yeah, got the opportunity to steal this momentum away from Plowski if he wants.
It's a 3-bet from the button. And this is a situation where I would expect the 3-bet to be small. And it is, 155,000. Because Boycian has the advantage of position.
Yeah, it's a bit like you say with the last one, where Kuzminski, you would expect it to be bigger because he knows he's going to be at a disadvantage. But here...
Well, Plowski has called the bet and sees a flop of 8-5-3 with 2 clubs. And the standard narrative here is that it goes check, bet, fold.
Yeah, 1 out of 3 at the moment. I think 2 out of 3 is pretty good.
The way Plowski's holding his cards, I don't think he can wait to fold. There is the bet. And there is the fold.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't wait for it, could he?
Well, the good news is we have a new guest in the booth. Someone who hopefully can bring some insight to these players, because he was competing against them earlier on today from Team PokerStars Pro. It's Johnny Lodden.
Hello, boys.
Hey, hey.
Now, Johnny, obviously, it's lovely to have you here, but we'd much rather be watching you playing at that table, and I know that you'd much rather be at that table. Hard luck, but hey, look, it's a deep run in a huge tournament, so well done at the same time.
Yeah, thanks for that. But what can I say? I'm not that good when it's 2 tables left. It's hard to sit there and commentate when you know you should have a place on that seat instead.
You do realise that Mark Convey is to blame, because it was his jacket that you were wearing.
Yeah, he was talking about that jacket all week. It was freezing in there, especially on one of the table that was straight under the air condition. I was sitting there 2 days. That's why I had the jacket, not because of the luck of Mark.
Which clearly ran out when you really needed it.
He seems to think he bought you at least 2 days of additional play through the jacket.
2 days of pain.
As it stands, Johnny, watching the final 9 here, who are the strong players? Who do you expect to be, say, for example, the final 3 at the final table?
Looking at the chip counts now, I would have Ramsey as a favorite. And of course Ben is really good and Mark is good, but they're short, both of them. And I don't know, they're like, it looks like the older you get, the more luck you get. So they picks up so many good hands and so many good spots. I've been playing with this guy in the Polish guy, I think.
Yes, Klaczynski.
And the guy in C1, and yeah, this Polish guy, he picked up aces in 2 times and kings in 1 round yesterday, and got it all in pre against queens 3 times and held off. So then it's not a hard game.
Well, bear in mind that David Boasian is going for back-to-back final tables here in Prague. He was the runner-up last year, finishing second to Martin Finger, and he is the chip leader at the moment with 4.6 million. He raised from the cutoff, called by Kuzminski, the Russian qualifier, on the button, and now there's a 3-bet from your pick, Ramsey Jalassi, in the big blind. I think it's fair to say, Johnny, that Ramsey's a player who's experienced what you've experienced a lot as well, coming really close to the final table, coming close to that big score, and then just not getting to the final over that final hurdle.
He looks good now with 3 million, and hopefully he can do it. He's a great guy, so I'm rooting for him. I didn't get to play any hands with this boy. There's a lot of hard names out there. The guy who raced.
Boasian, yeah.
Only except for one, though.
Yes, and it's a hand I'm sure you won't be forgetting anytime soon. Well, Boasian has folded, so Kuzminski now on the button. And obviously it's a sizable 3-bet. And I like that, Matt, not just because obviously there was the call after the opening raise, but also the fact of him being out of position.
Yep.
And it's a hefty bet for Kuzminski to call, even if he thinks, oh, well, I've got the button. And,
yeah.
You know, I don't know much about Kuzminski's game, but I would hazard a guess that 9 times out of 10, Ramsey Jalassi would have the advantage of being able to outplay him post-flop.
Yeah, and it looks like Kuzminski there decides not to put himself in that position and just lets the hand go.
The strange thing with this tournament is, like, the last 3 levels I played, there was not a single opening race that was over 2x.
No.
It was like everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
And the other thing about the last few levels, indeed the last couple of days, John, is how quickly it's gone. And obviously yesterday you guys played down to 21 rather than 24. I mean, we got down to the final 9 in no time at all. No real surprise that it slows down now, because we've reached a very important part of the tournament. And also, you know, everyone's pretty deep now. There are no short stacks.
Yeah, we were pretty deep all the time. Even though I was down to like 25 big blinds, and I was one of the shortest guy, still felt like I had a plate left.
Now, what did you make of this guy, Diego Gomez, the Spanish player?
I love him. He's a character for sure, and I don't know if his plays is that good, but he's a character and he loves to play and just enjoying the game. He got mad at one guy on my table earlier today because he was not smiling and wasn't enjoying the game.
It's funny because I've had a few people on Twitter today saying, why is no one smiling? Why are they not enjoying the game? I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of euros and an EPT title on the line, but I'm glad to see someone has turned out in high spirits, that person being Diego Gomez with his bow tie and his funky glasses.
Tempted to try and rock out the bow tie look maybe in the future?
Yeah, it looks cool.
Nice to see, you know, trying to smarten things up at the table. Nothing wrong with that. Bring a bit of joy to proceedings.
He got told quite a few times today that he had to stack the chips in 20s.
Oh,
But
really?
it lasted for maximum one hand before he just had to.
Has that now become a rule? Because obviously it's something that a lot of players complain about when people don't keep their chips in stacks of 20s, but there's never been an official line on it before.
I don't think it's a rule, but it's just courtesy to do it, and it's much easier for the bloggers and stuff to see how much you have, and yeah, it's just normal instead of counting every hand you have to. And I love to play with him as well, this Diego guy, because he's so fast.
Yeah.
He never take time, he just race, call, fold.
Well, Pulaski raised it up. Gomez came back over the top for 230,000.
The last time Gomez did this, he didn't have a plan.
No, and he's not even managed to get past Jelassi yet. He's still got plenty of players to get through that could potentially give him some action there, but no. Ramsey decides not to get involved. Same story for Ben. All the way around. Back to his neighbour that made the bet. It looks like he's ready to carry on.
That is a call. So Gomez in position with the pre-flop betting lead. A 9-6-8 flop with two clubs. Last time Pulaski played a 3-bet pot out of position, he did the classic check fold the flop move. How's he going to respond to this continuation bet from Gomez?
And again, as you said, Johnny, like fast play from Gomez, like boom, straight in. No hanging about here.
265,000. Pulaski will not fold, he will call.
Yeah. Pretty swift from both players there.
So this is one of the bigger pots we've seen of nine-handed play. Nearly 1.1 million. Two players go to the turn, which is the Queen of Spades. Well, checks a second time.
Yeah, check call from the flop. Now check, check. Another 6. Interesting how many of the players are really taking a really good look at Pulaski here. I wonder if Gomez has already decided what he's doing, regardless of the actions of Pulaski here. Good ching.
Pulaski now leads the river. A stack of yellow. Those are the 25,000 chips, remember. So it's 500,000. Well, this is a not insignificant pot.
Yeah.
I never seen him think this long in call. I played 2 days with him. But of course it's a different moment in the tournament now.
Sure.
So.
Well, after he did that cold 4-bet and then faced a shove, he did the same. He thought for a while and then decided to fold. Will this be the same situation? Will he tank fold? He calls.
Wow.
10 jack suited.
Plowski
Oh,
has a
queens.
full house. Queens full of sixes. And Gomez will muck and will be left with 1.5 million in chips.
No. I'm rooting for this Gomez guy as well. You need a guy like that on the final table.
Well, we now have a short stack at the table. Well, still 37 big blinds, though. Don't have to panic yet.
They're so deep in this tournament. It's surprisingly how fast people goes out.
I mean, obviously, that was an exception that possibly proves the rule, Johnny, that the guy actually thought that time. But let's just talk about decision-making in general, because the whole idea of decision-making in poker and the idea of some kind of timer or shot clock is a real hot topic at the moment. Were there any points in this tournament, particularly today, where you thought people were taking too long over their decisions?
Not today, actually, but yesterday. There's a couple of guys that I hate people when it's a race and they don't even look at their cards and ask for a count and then look at the guy again, and then after 30 seconds he decides to take a peek and then fold. Just like, look at your cards first at least and then do the acting afterwards. Pre-flop time when it's folded to you is just stupid.
Folded around to Ramsey Jalassi. He raises, gets a fold from Ben Warrington on the button, and from Sartorius Kotopis in the small blind. And looks like Mark Herm has folded the big blind as well.
Mark Herm hasn't played a hand yet, has he?
No.
He was very active when I played on his table, and I heard from my friend also he was very active on the other table, even though with a short stack.
A message of support for Ben Warrington from Ricky on Twitter. He says, "Go on, Ben! Who are you hoping will make it to the final table? Let us know by tweeting using the hashtag EPTLive or emailing nuts@pokerstars.tv. For entertainment purposes, Johnny would like to see Diego Gomez make the final. Right now, he and Mark Herm have the fewest chips of any of the players at the table, but still pretty deep.
Just folding round, folding round, folding round to the button now. Nope, into the blinds. And that'll do the job. Back in familiar territory.
Yeah.
He who min bets first wins on a majority of these hands.
Daniel asks a fair question on Twitter. He says, what is the reasoning behind the final 8 being the final table? As there are 9 sitting on one table, why is this table different from the final table? Sorry if I seem like a noob. I mean, obviously a decision was taken in the EPT's inception that for as much of the tournament as possible, it would be 8-handed. Now, sometimes on day 1, it's 10-handed. Sometimes on day 2, it's 9-handed. But as soon as it can, with the space available, go 8-handed, it does. So the final table should be 8-handed. Now, when we get down to 9, it would be unfair to have a table of 5 and a table of 4. The 4-handed table would be at such a disadvantage that it's only fair that we merge the 2 tables at that point. But still, it's not officially a final table until we're down to 8.
Nice, nicely handled. You sound like you've said that before a couple of times.
Just once.
Just once. Oh.
At every event for the last 5 years.
Hey.
Now, it's a fair question, but, you know, at some point a final table has to become official. I mean, I think I'm right in saying and correct me if I'm wrong, at the World Series in the main event, they go 10-handed right before the final table bubble. I mean, they have the November 9, but I think there's still 10 players sat around the one table before they...
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
So it's the same principle applies. If you want that free roll password, it's coming up now. The game will start in just under 2 hours' time. $1,500 in the prize pool. PCA 10 is the password today. PCA 10. Carlos feels that we need a classic Matt quiz, harking back to the days of what's on my underpants.
I forgot about that. That was a cracker. Well, I'll have a think about that. I've got a tremendous what's on my pajamas. What's on my pajamas? I'll take a picture later on, but I'll get that one going. If anyone would like to guess what's on my pajamas.
Bless you for bringing a pair of pajamas to Prague, by the way.
Well, it's very cold. And I thought...
Well, speak for yourself. My hotel room, I can't get it below 30 degrees Celsius.
Yes, well, I must admit, I've not worn my pajamas because I've got the same problem. I had to put it on
Have you been doing the thing where you keep turning it down a little bit because you don't want the room to get too cold, and now it's well into the blue, but it's still massively hot?
Do you know what? I just turned it off. I literally just, when I got in the air, I just went off. I thought, you know, if it gets chilly, I can cope with it, but being hot, no. But so, yeah, they are, whoever it was, requested the classic quiz, what's on my pajamas?
Wow, we've reached that stage already, everyone. Yep. We're trying to guess what... Is it an illustration? Is it a character? Or is this giving too much information?
No, let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
We're calling this competition, what's on my pajamas?
I mean, I really hope, Matt, it's something more interesting than their blue and white stripes, or...
I'll put it this way, I'll let you know, it's not just a pattern, okay?
Good.
It's not just, yeah, I've got some red checks. I'm not the kind of guy that does pajamas like that. But tune in tomorrow, apart from the final table, which I understand will be quite interesting, is for the conclusion of what's on my pajamas.
Well, obviously, if someone correctly guesses it tonight, the game concludes.
That's true.
But you seem confident that no one will be able to guess what's on your pajamas.
It's because also I'm not entirely sure of the exact detail. But yeah, somebody may get it right tonight. But there you are. What was the name of that person?
That was Carlos.
Carlos, you at least have to enter the competition. You could win literally nothing.
Let's pick up the action here. It's Sergei Kuzminski against Ben Warrington.
Yep, they're checking their way to victory.
Looks like Warrington was the pre-flop raiser, and Kuzminski defended his big blind.
Welcome to my king high. Classic poker.
Got another Carlos on Twitter. He says, I'm rooting for Ben Warrington and Mark Herm and loving the knowledgeable commentary. Rob says, I'm so glad, Matt, that you asked the pajamas question and not Stapes. Yeah. I wouldn't want to even think about what may or may not be on Stapes' pajamas.
The man is 75% hair. He doesn't need pajamas. he is pajamas.
And Brian says, let's go, Mark Herm. Send them to the showers, mate.
Lord.
Well, remember, the game will stop when we lose one more player. The final 8 will come back tomorrow, and you can watch live coverage of the final table of EPT Prague here at PokerStars.tv from noon tomorrow. That's noon Central European time. So you're going to have to be pretty dedicated if you're on the east coast of the USA to get up at 6 a.m. to watch it. If you're on the west coast, that's a 3 a.m. start. But, you know, we admire that dedication and we will salute you and you will get a shout out, so it's worth making the effort.
Yeah, and it might be so early that you haven't gone to bed yet. Thought, you know,
Good point. Friday night, Friday into Saturday, yeah.
Sit up here, play some poker, watch Mark, the Herminator.
Assuming he makes the final table.
Well, you know, a lot of people seem to be very much behind him in his game. It's just a shame he doesn't have the chips to really get into this right now. But as we've said before, even the shortest stack right now is still pretty deep blind-wise. We're kind of looking at these chip stacks comparatively, but of course actually up against the level we're at, still plenty to play with. There you are, around the table, let you know who you're looking down upon.
That is their seat assignments, and obviously their chip counts and their positions on the leaderboard reflected in the right-hand column. Stephen says, we need a Brit to win. That Brit would be Ben Warrington. It should be pointed out that in every single season of the EPT, up to and including Season 8, there has been at least one British EPT champion. Obviously, this is only the third event of Season 9, but if Ben Warrington were to win it, he'd keep that record going. Some guesses coming in on Twitter, by the way, Matt, with the hashtag EPT Live, guessing what's on Matt's pyjamas. Nate says, bananas, strawberries, and a cat.
No. But thanks. Don't know where that came from.
Gutschel says Mickey Mouse.
No. Thanks for playing.
Adam Jackson, thank you for your guess, but I want to make it clear we're talking about Matt's pyjamas, not Joe Stapleton's.
It's a min raise, boys and girls. Welcome to the party.
From the small blind. And Ramsey responds with a 3-bet.
Yeah. Yeah, if Klaczynski thought this was going to be an easy spot. Welcome to Ramsey.
It's nice and chunky, 240,000.
I think Ramsey would have a good hand here to do a 3-bet, because, or else I just think he would see a flop in position for a cheap money. I would definitely do it in that situation.
Hello.
Oh.
Something's going on down there.
This is not a call that's being counted out. And Ramsey's already looking back at his hand.
6-10.
He asks for a count. The 4-bet is to 490,000. $250,000 more. With his stack, Johnny, can he legitimately call this and play a flop in position?
If you have a really good hand, I would have. But I don't think he's going to fold here. Make it 240 and fold. I think he's going to re-raise it.
Well,
He's going to take a flop.
These battles of the blinds can be interesting.
Come on, take a flop. That's much more fun.
Remember the last battle of the blinds we saw was kings against ace deuce.
Yeah, who had ace deuce there?
Plowski.
Oh, the guy. I was surprised because I thought it was the guy with the glasses, with the red
Nope.
thingy.
Plowski just got a little bit over aggressive and shoved with the ace deuce, and obviously got snapped off by Berggren with the kings.
It's going to be a race here.
So there's the 5-bet now from Ramsey Jalassi. And these just could be two monster hands, and this could be an inevitable cold deck clash.
Kaczynski's got to go back and have a check.
Big hands.
I can't imagine that Ramsey Jalassi is 5-bet folding, so if Klaczynski does shove, I think we're going to see a confrontation here.
Yeah, for sure. He looks very confident, though, the Kaczynski guy.
He shoves.
Ace king against Oh,
Yeah,
aces against kings.
And Ramsey Jalassi will call.
Aces
Kings
against
is the hand for Ramsey Jalassi. Klaczynski
queen.
has queens.
Wow.
This is not the way Mariusz Klaczynski wanted to celebrate his 40th birthday, by running queens into kings on the final table bubble here at EPT Prague. Will he be rewarded with the ultimate birthday present, though, and see a queen on the flop? 4-1 underdog, and he is the player at risk.
Ooh.
Close but no cigar. He needs a queen. If Jalassi's kings hold, we will have our final table and play will be done for the day.
Wow. 4.8 million in this pot.
Klaczynski needs a queen on the river. Otherwise, we have our final table, and Ramsey Jalassi will be the chip leader at that final table. It's a brick. So Mariusz Klaczynski, on his 40th birthday, bubbles the final table. He'll collect 53,000 euros. The final 8, all guaranteed 75,000. They'll come back and play tomorrow. And Ramsey Jalassi will be the man to beat. He'll come into tomorrow with a stack of 5.67 million. Ale Plowski from Belarus, second in chips with 4.7 million.
And I didn't swap with him.
And there is some talent at this final table, Johnny Lodden. Ramsey Jalassi, Ale Plowski, Ben Warrington, Mark Herm. We've got some interesting characters like Katupis and Diogo Gomez. It should be a fun final table. Those are the sums they'll be playing for, and you can watch it live tomorrow, 12 noon Central European time, here on PokerStars.tv. Johnny, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your insights into these players with us.
Yeah, let's go Ramsey.
Matt Broughton and I will be back tomorrow.
What's on my pajamas?
We'll continue the competition tomorrow. Not poker chips then, that was the last suggestion we had.
No.
Join me, James Hartigan and Matt Broughton tomorrow. But right now, it's good night from Prague.